Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Crypto Analyst here, and I hope all of you guys are having a good morning, evening, wherever you guys are from, and welcome back to another Bitcoin technical analysis. And with Bitcoin falling all the way down to the popular 382 fib retracement, as well as the 200 EMA, it has created a lot of potential for Bitcoin to both the up and the downside, as it is at a very pivotal point that it needs to hold. Now, I've talked about that in a previous video, and today I kind of want to elaborate on that and kind of give an updated technical analysis of where I believe Bitcoin's going to go, as well as what I think is possible and what I think is probable. So if you guys are interested, go and stick around for the video, and do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button, as it does help out the channel a lot. But that being said, let's go ahead and dive on into this, because again, I do need to update this. It has been a couple days since the last one, and our first target has hit to the downside. Now, with that being said, am I buying right here? Am I not buying right here? I'm going to kind of be talking about that, but I do want to talk about why this is a very pivotal area. And again, I have covered this in the last video, so I don't want to go too into depth on it, but basically the 200 EMA, as we can see here from this like pinkish purple line, it is this monumental support that has been held for the entirety of this bull market. Now, ever since Bitcoin crossed over it in around February over here, it has not fallen beneath it. It has had some piercing candles, but for the most part, it hasn't held below this 200 EMA in, 5, 6, 7 months now. So for the entirety of this bull market, Bitcoin has been holding this 200 EMA, and it looks like it wants to hold this as well. Now, something I mentioned in the last video is that it's very possible that the 382 and the 200 EMA actually come together to form support, and that's exactly what happened. So what this does is it makes the support kind of twice as strong, so to say, because not only do you have just the one reason of the fib being there, but now you have the two reasons of both the fib and the 200 EMA being there on something as significant as the 4-hour timescale. So with these coming together over here, we're actually able to see a very nice bounce in the price action of Bitcoin, and what this allows it to do is kind of create the potential for a V-action bottom reversal here. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but it definitely is showing some good signs. This came down, touched this 200 EMA, pierced a little bit through the 382 fib retracement, and now that it is working its way back up. So it came all the way down to around $9,650, and then pretty much rocketed its way back up about $1,000 all the way around to $10,600. Now, $1,000, it could have been more, it could have been less. It's not anything where we're like, wow, this is going to be a bottom. Again, we've seen actions like this before, and especially over here in this area, if I can actually go ahead and circle this, we have already seen some V actions that were not reversals. So the question really is here, is this just going to be a bounce because of how much it's fallen? Again, we've seen this, significant fall, then V-action bounce. What we kind of call this is like a dead cat bounce, or, something along the lines of that. And so is this just the same scenario over here? Because if so, this is arguably just a weaker bounce than what we've already seen, which isn't a good case for Bitcoin. So there's a couple scenarios that I want to go over here, and this is the first one, that what if this is just going to continue to go downwards? And then I'm going to kind of talk about the bullish part of this as well, because there might be a little bit more bearish action before we get into more bullish action, because I do think that it's very possible that we still break this local high of around 14K. So if Bitcoin is actually going to come down over here, what we're actually going to have to note is that this 200 EMA is now going to be used as resistance. Now, we've seen this over here. It's not a big deal. We have fallen below the 50 EMA before, used it as resistance just to break it. This time, however, you can see that there's a lot more selling pressure. There's a lot more bearish pressure, especially in the volume. Looking at over here, almost historic levels of volume on the 4-hour chart. So it's very, very big, something significant, and to at least take a look at. If I do think that this is going to come down, do I think the 382 is going to hold? Well, it's holding for now, so there's nothing too scary there. But I do think that it's very possible that this actually breaks. Now, if this does break, there are two areas that I'm kind of looking at over here. And the first is going to be this consolidation area, right around the $8,000 level. And then the second one is actually going to be down here at the 618, which is just below this level at around 7,200. Now, anywhere in here, I think it's very possible that Bitcoin can retrace to. I've already mentioned that in my previous video. I've talked about how everything has a proper retracement, and a 618 fib retracement is the golden fib for a reason on Bitcoin. So I'm really not too concerned as long as it holds these levels. Moving over here towards the indicators and oscillators, one of the things that I want to note is that on the MACD, on the 4-hour chart, you are starting to see a little bit of double bullish divergence forming. That is a tongue twister. On the 4-hour MACD. So when this is happening, something that I am noticing is that if this is going to start rounding towards the downside, which it already actually has started to, if this is completely confirmed, this is double bullish divergence on the 4-hour MACD, and the 4-hour RSI is going to be getting into this area of where it could very well be setting a higher low and turning back towards the upside. So when I'm looking at the RSI from this kind of standpoint, looking at its history and something that I use a lot, generally this thing's, is probably going to be looking for some sort of a bounce soon. Now, whether the bounce that we just saw is the bounce that we're going to see over here, or whether that it's still yet to come, that's one of those things where, no one knows for sure, but I would imagine that this RSI, at least somewhere around this 30 level, does bounce. So maybe this was the local bottom right here, and then it's going to continue heading up over here. I would imagine that sooner rather than later, this upper overbought territory is going to be tested on this RSI chart, because this is, it just would make sense for me that, it works its way back up here towards this overbought chart, actually set a lower swing high, and then actually come back down into the oversold territory. So maybe that this is a short-term bullish, mid-term bearish, and then long-term bullish scenario where, yes, we could bounce here just to fall further, and then falling further, we could actually, that could just be the momentum that we need to set a higher low or something along the lines of that. So I don't want that to be too confusing. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and draw it out over here, because I don't think that made too much sense with me explaining it pretty poorly. So what I mean by this is short-term bearish is that this thing could definitely, or short-term bullish actually. So with ourselves bouncing off of the silver fib and the 200 EMA, short-term bullish means that I think that we can bounce from this area, but in the overall, I think that this thing's bearish and that it could actually very possibly come back down into this $8,000 territory. Now, with it being in this territory, I think that it could bounce anywhere in this $8,000 range. Anywhere in here, I think this is a very possible and even probable area that Bitcoin can bounce in. Now, if it can bounce off of here, this is going to be the short-term bullish, the mid-term bearish, and then somewhere around here, I think it's going to be a long-term bullish. And so I think it's going to continue up something like this. Now, it's not going to be in just 3 giant moves like this. It's not like we're just going to wick ourselves up here, wick ourselves down here, and then, moon shoot, and this is all going to happen in a week. This is going to be playing out over probably months, throughout the end of summer and probably even moving into fall. And who knows, maybe even pushing to the end of the year. So I don't want to make this sound like this is all going to be happening by the end of July, because I don't think that is the proper scenario, but I do think that this is the general direction that this market is going to kind of be moving in as we are pushing into the end of summer and even the duration of fall, because those are kind of what I'm looking at. So just moving this out so we can get a little bit, of a macro sense of Bitcoin, I think that the thing that I want to understand is just how understandable this fib retracement chart is. That you guys can see I am measuring this from bottom to top, and so that's where I'm getting these numbers from. A lot of people always ask how I draw up my fib charts. This is how my current one is drawn up, and really how I'm looking at this. Overall on Bitcoin, I think that there are a couple of areas that are going to be retracement beyond this. Again, this $4,200 mark on Bitcoin, or this $5,400 mark on Bitcoin is going to be another strong one. And then, of course, $4,200 on Bitcoin is going to be another strong one. Do I think we're going to get down there? Nothing's for certain. I certainly don't think a new low is probable. And I guess I can go ahead and talk about that for a second, is that I don't think a new low is probable, but it's still very possible. So am I inclined to believe that we're going to go to a new low? The answer is no. I don't think we are going to a new low. I don't think we're going to $1,000. I do think it's possible that, we could very well retrace all the way back down into one of these regions, but I don't think a new low is in for Bitcoin. It doesn't seem probable to me, but it's always still possible. So the possibility is out there. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Are you guys still bullish, or are you guys bearish on Bitcoin? Give me your answers in the comment section below. Let me know why, and I will see you guys in the next video.